Hey everybody, David here, and welcome to the ASOG podcast. In this episode, we speak with Erik St. Pierre, co-founder and COO of PartsTech, an electronic cataloging system that has absolutely taken the automotive industry by storm. Erik discusses the challenges in bringing all the innovations that shop owners ask for to their program. Before we get started, please take a moment to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast listening app, make sure you have it set to automatically download the latest episode. And now, here we go.
My first time at ASTE.
There's a picture of a test
That's
drive.
awesome. No shit.
Yeah.
Snap-on. That's unreal. You are up there.
Yeah. So the shop's at 3,700 feet, something like that.
What type of stuff do you service?
Everything.
Yeah.
If it comes through the door, no. Basic auto repair.
You don't do HD though. Like, are you going to do you do a 1.5 ton?
Yeah, we might step up to some RV stuff,
Yep.
eventually. We're building a new shop. We're going from 2.5 bays to 10 bays.
Nice.
So it's kind of like a transition right now. But for the most part, we stick with basic repair, So that's just what we do. I started as a diesel shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then diesel performance kind of waned a little bit. And I moved more into general repair. And the more that we did medium duty stuff, we just don't have the space for it, right? We got 2.5 bays. I can't pick anything up that's a big truck. It barely fits in the bay in the first place. It's a challenge. So we've really kind of moved ourselves to where we're just doing basic repair,
Yep.
We've actually been using PartsTech for 2 or 3 years now.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, really happy with it. It's a really good software option. Parts option for sure.
What are you yammering on about? So, like, I'm in the Kansas City metro area, so there's 1,000 options. Like, we can order from anybody.
I got 3.
Yeah. So they have my main vendor's Factory Motor Parts.
Right.
But it's Factory Motor Parts. I'm trying to think of my screen across the top there. WorldPack, Napa, Advance, which isn't really an Advance. It's a CarQuest that they now rebranded as an Advance. There's an actual Advance store down the street from that one, but that one's a warehouse. So they've got really good inventory. AutoZone, Radiator Depot.
Yep.
Which they're also integrated in PartsTech, which was flipping awesome because their website is super sketchy. And then, but no, the biggest thing is you want to be able to just click a button, have it dump into the shop management system.
Right.
That's all you want. Even if you don't end up ordering the part through PartsTech or whatever, the fact that you can do that because of whatever reason, they don't have it in stock or they've got a special order it, so you can't technically order it through PartsTech. You want to be able to put the information into the shop management system without having to physically enter it. So just having that option there, man, it makes such a huge difference. And then O'Reilly's the very last one there. So I've got all of those across the top.
Dude, that must be so nice.
What's that?
Having all those options.
So, 80% of the time, you go to your main vendor. The first thing we do is go to with factory, unless it's an import like German or some Japanese, but factories up their Denso game. They're carrying radiators, alternators, starters, oxygen sensors. Start carrying NTK, and so NTK oxygen sensors are an option there now.
You buy anything from SSF?
I don't.
They're pretty awesome too.
Well, they've got cool stuff. That's fine, but they're not on PartsTech.
Yeah, that's a.
No, SSF is on PartsTech.
What?
Well,
no,
but I'm not
connected.
They'll ship to me, and it does pop up. It does pop up.
Dang, I guess I just didn't catch that.
On the very, very end, if nobody has it, you can click the very button at the end, and then it'll show you the weird stuff. What's the motor
distribution?
Motor distribution's on there, and SSF, they'll pop up there, but I'm not calling everybody. Like, that's what I have PartsTech for. Like,
That's what we're here
I don't
for.
want to call.
Yeah,
anybody.
right.
So
we probably should talk about what PartsTech is. There might be people who aren't using it.
they're not listening to this then. They have flip phones. They don't. What's a podcast? I listen to the radio.
Well, I mean, look, you see, when we're explaining this to Dutch later, we need to be able to open up our phones.
Dutch
and play it.
Dutch is going to comment here in a second saying,
Back up,
listen
play
here.
again.
Remember that at ETI?
Listen here, you young whippersnappers.
We were talking crap on Dutch, and he starts commenting on the live stream, and he's like, and Lucas looks over, and he's like, Dutch is commenting on the live stream.
Yo, Dutch.
I didn't know you could do that from a flip phone, but I mean, I can't.
No, he's very tech savvy for the most part.
So you want me to break it down? You want me to?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
on.
cool.
Go.
So easiest way to think about it is PartsTech. Wait a minute. Have you ever booked travel online?
Yes.
So how do you do it? Do you go to Delta's website or do you go to like a Priceline or a Kayak?
My wife uses Booking,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Typically, if I'm booking flights, I'm going to American because I've got points.
They're
Yeah.
Expedia now.
I don't know. Man,
They
your ADD,
consolidated.
it just bounces.
I know. But he said Kayak, and that's very much like, I've used Kayak before, and it feels
Yeah.
like Kayak.
Yeah, so that's the analogy, right? Like we bring all of your parts vendors together in one place so that you don't have to pick up the phone and place, 5 different calls to 5 different local suppliers, repeating the same info over and over again. Here's my VIN, here's the part I'm looking for, or worse yet, going to 5 different websites and trying to remember, like, hey, does Napa call it a steering gear or a steering rack? Like, where the heck
Right.
is it in their catalog? So we bring all of the vendors together in one site. So you search once, you can find the part that you need, fast and easy, place the order, and you're done, right? So pull the part back into your work order, and that's it.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, it is a life changer. As a service advisor, it is a life changer.
Yeah, it makes it super easy. The only time you go off of it is
RepairLink.
RepairLink, yeah. RepairLink. And like, even, this was probably a year ago, your integration with WorldPack was, and especially after they switched the part numbers. When then they went to their weird WorldPack part numbers, like that became an issue.
Right.
So because we wanted to keep it all like in one place,
Right.
we were going to speed dial, getting the part number, and then putting it into PartsTech to then have it pop up and then click it and dump it over. Even though speed dial was in there, I don't know, like sometimes when speed dial, that's how long it's been since we used speed dial, like to actually integrate it into our shop management system, like the stuff wasn't moving over right or it didn't look right or something. I know, consistency. So we that's what we were doing for a while, but you guys updated that a bunch of times.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
it's so
man.
much better.
We've done a lot of work on that. We're always working on each of our vendor integrations, trying to get the latest from their tech team, build it into our platform, so our users always have the latest connection to
So
their
you
vendors.
go to the vendor, do you say, look at the usage rate and like, this is why you need to give me more access to your inventory. This is why you need to give me better, more accurate access to the pricing. Because sometimes the pricing's off. Like, you go to the website, it's 97.88, and you go to PartsTech and it shows whatever, 98.52. And I've asked about that and the people that call, and again, I don't pay PartsTech. They can pay me, by the way. You can, anyway, I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
We'll look into it.
But, I'm getting phone calls from PartsTech, and I tell them that, hey, sometimes the price itself, it's like, yeah, we're pulling information from what they give. Like, if they tell us it's 98.52, that's what we display. Now, they could be jacking with the numbers on the background, but it is what it is.
See, that's what happens to me is that they give me special rates on pads and rotors. So if I buy it through PartsTech and then don't call over there when I place the order and say, hey, fix this, then I'll pay $20 more a rotor or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. So I got to be careful. I got to watch.
Well, hold on now. I wouldn't factory, and with factory, they gave me special rotor pricing too, but that showed up.
See, Advance doesn't for me. Now, that might just be my unique situation in that case. I don't know.
They would have to, like, maybe you're going to get your sales guy in trouble. It's like, hey, if L&N calls, you have to physically price override each individual part for $20.
Well, Susie's downstairs. You want to go ask her? You're going to get her in trouble.
Yeah, you might.
She's pretty high up. I doubt I'm going to get her in trouble. But you don't have like a local guy or gal that comes around?
Not that arranged that. I'll talk to Leslie. I'll ask her.
Okay. Well, I'm saying like that's the only reason.
So it shows up for you is my question.
It shows up for me. Yeah, my special pricing.
That's pretty cool.
If you go to the website, directly to their website, does it show up?
Yeah.
That's weird.
So you know how it works? When you guys sign up on PartsTech, you put in your customer number for that vendor, right? So then whenever we're running the search on your behalf, we're communicating to their system saying, hey, we're querying on behalf of Lucas. Give us Lucas's pricing. Right. So whatever you see on PartsTech is what's coming back from their system.
So is it possible that it comes from two different places then?
I think what might be happening is there might be a rebate or a discount that's applied after the invoice. And so
if I go look it up in their website, it shows me the right price.
Totally. Right. So you're seeing it on PartsTech and it's essentially a display issue, but you're getting charged the discounted price. So it's just a display thing.
So try ordering it without saying anything. See what happens.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, let us know.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, totally.
Check into that. Hey, you know what? They got some killer customer service. We got stuck in this mess the other day. Napa went down, right? And nobody could figure out what happened. Well, it turned out that the guy who owns the Napa store sold the Napa store and didn't tell anybody. At the time, had not even told his staff that he sold the Napa store.
Nice.
So I called tech support and they're like, no, that's right. And I'm like, no, I promise it doesn't work. And they're like, well, that's not your store number. So they go through this whole thing and she calls me back and leaves me a voicemail at like 7 o'clock at night. And she's like, your store number changed. I think it might be a different company now. I'm like, oh, okay.
We see some weird stuff. Like we'll get a call from a shop that'll say, hey, our order didn't go through. What's up? And we'll find out from talking to the vendor that maybe the shop's over their credit limit. And then we have to go back to the shop owner and kind of have a difficult conversation. Like, hey man,
listen, you got out of money?
You got to pay your bill.
Right. Yeah. Hey, that happens to me like 2 times a week.
What's that?
So that happens.
Yeah. Like I put money on my credit cards daily. And when it hits the limit, it hits this limit. Like, so like everybody else is chill about it except for WorldPack. WorldPack has started to ease up on their restrictions on there. They're like, well, if it hits $1,000, we're going to turn it off. So I know I've hit $1,000 that I need to put money on the credit card because all of a sudden I see my speed dial won't work. Or the WorldPack, I'm like, hey, call them up and tell them to run the credit card. It works.
Poor Juan.
What's that?
Poor Juan.
He's gotten used to it. Just the
Juan's his service advisor.
The way I deal
poor
with
guy,
it. Yeah, just the way I deal with it. Otherwise, just my ADD, dude. Trust me, you don't want me managing the money.
I think he's gone completely crazy at this point. Every time I see one, he's just sitting around with a big smile on his face. I mean, he should probably be in silent. I mean, he'd have to put up with you.
Comes to work drunk.
Just don't let him drive customer cars.
No, we don't do that.
So tell us, what's new and exciting with PartsTech?
We got a ton of stuff going on. Our product team, first of all, we've been growing like crazy. We've been bringing on a lot of people on the dev side, the development side, the product side. We're adding all over the company. And our product team has really been doing a kick-ass job of bringing new features to market. So you might have seen that we added tires onto PartsTech recently. So now, and let me step back, actually. Our product vision is to make it fast and easy for any repair shop to find the part that they need across all of their suppliers.
Right.
So when we say all of your suppliers, we're not just talking parts suppliers. We're talking bringing in tire vendors, bringing in, eventually new car dealers. Like PartsTech is going to be a central hub where you procure everything.
Dude, that's awesome.
Your management system.
So you're trying to smush PartsTech and RepairLink together.
We're going to
have it just be PartsTech.
Every area where you're buying parts, we're bringing into.
I guess so I'm going to have to ask you this because this is where my brain's going. So the big appeal to PartsTech or RepairLink is the breakdown, the pictures.
Yeah. Because
the names, like, there is nothing consistent. Like, why would you call it this? And we just copy and paste and put it in our system, but it's a control module to everybody except for the OE. The OE called it some cockamamie name.
Steering rack versus steering gear. Or
Yeah.
right,
it's
there's
not
a
even
million.
that. Like steering gear and steering rack,
You
like,
kinda get it, but
yeah,
yeah.
you kind of get it. But man, there are some like, they call it a control arm like pivot. And
Yeah.
like, no, that's a tie rod end. No, it's a control arm pivot. Like what? That doesn't make any sense. And so you don't know, but you know what system it's in. So you click on the system. There's the picture, and that's the part I need. You click on it, and that's how you know that they've called it whatever. How are you guys going to manage that? Or are you going to start bringing in diagrams? Maybe.
Yeah,
hopefully.
we're looking at it. We haven't committed to bringing diagrams in one way or another on the OE side. So we've looked at it on the aftermarket side, and it's interesting. We hear from shops all the time, like, "Hey, diagrams are really interesting. Can you bring them into PartsTech? It would help me make the parts search process faster." And we're like, "Cool. Tell us more about that. When do you use them?" And it mostly boils down to like exhaust systems and a couple other part types where they're getting used a lot on the aftermarket side. So we're looking at that. But on the OE side, we haven't made a call yet whether we'll bring like the vector diagrams, those line diagrams in. But it's something we're aware that shops use. We're considering it.
Yeah.
We use it
Every day.
every day on the OE side.
Totally. Right.
But the aftermarket side, not so much. But and I know like WorldPack on speed dial, they have the diagrams.
Right.
But I don't. First, you don't know if the diagram's like accurate to the car that year, make, and model. Like if you go to RepairLink, depending on the manufacturer, because that makes a big difference. Like if you go and look up a Ford on RepairLink, it is extremely accurate.
Right.
It is most likely what you are seeing. But you look up a Mercedes. The funny thing is, so I'm looking up a coolant hose on a Mercedes, and I've got the that's what we're talking about, Bill. I've got the picture, the RepairLink picture, and I'm like, that can't be accurate. There's like everything's in space, and they're just kind of pointing it. It's not there. It's not there. And so I call the dealer up, and I'm like, dude, can you send me a diagram so I can take a look at this and point to the hose? So what does he send me? He faxes a diagram over, like what he's looking at. It's the same thing. Like, and I'm like, this is a nightmare. How do you order parts? He's like, yeah, it's Benz. It is what it is. Like, we'll eventually get the right part. I'm like, holy crap. How do you manage this?
Dude, I fought that for months. I mean, I had a car that we were just trying to find 2 O-rings for. And he's like, I'm just going to have to order every O-ring in the list and send them to you because I don't know. Like, it doesn't tell me what that is. And they would send stuff up, and he's like, there is no name for this part. It's not even named in our system. We don't even know what to charge you for this.
Freaking Germans. Anyway, so the cars, not the people. Anyway, so these poor guys, they don't know what they were getting into.
I mean, I guess we're gonna find the easiest way to help you get the parts that you need, and if that path of least resistance is through vectors, then that's what we're
yes, do the
that's
vectors.
it. That's
but
it.
like VW, now they're like heavily integrated with RepairLink. Like you get extra discounts. They give you customer or technical support if you're a RepairLink customer. Like if you're using RepairLink and you need help with the Volkswagen, they give you a special 1-800 number. You call them up; they'll give you diagnostic help, like technical help, which is we don't use that, but that's pretty cool. It's an extra value, right? But the pictures aren't the same because like the Audi dealer or the Volkswagen dealer will send us, and it is so detailed. Like every inch of the car is diagrammed, and I'm like, I want that picture. Why is that not like what I see when I pull it up on RepairLink? And that's not what you see. So it depends on the manufacturer, but if you're going to do OE, and you have to have pictures.
I heavily depend on RepairLink for my Volkswagen, my Audi, any of my Euro stuff. Right, I've got a Volkswagen and Audi dealer that I just can't get parts from. Volvo can't get parts from. I mean, you can call it; they literally turn their telephones off. You can't even call them. So you can't get a hold of the parts department at all. And so I depend on RepairLink to be able to get that. And then sometimes I have to call, hours away. I have to call Charlotte or have to call Raleigh to get parts. Yeah. So, that is the only way I can get those parts.
The other thing we do is we'll go to RepairLink. We'll find the part on RepairLink. I'll take the OE number and then slap it right into PartsTech. And I'm like, oh, look at that. There's a Motorcraft version. Yeah. And it's in stock at my factory motor parts. Boom. Right. I don't have to deal with the dealer at all.
Yeah, exactly.
You end up sometimes paying more because, once it changes hands or whatever, it ends up being another 10%, but you're like, I'll have to deal with the dealer.
Exactly. No, I mean, look, I'm telling you, and what I do is I'll use PartsTech and I'll drop that number in and I'll search it. And even if I have to go all the way to the right, I'll go and I'll find out there's another part number or something.
An aftermarket part, yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And then start kind of wiggling my way around until I get it.
Giving everybody all the secrets. So if you just find it, nobody stocks whatever Raybestos part number because like in my area, nobody sells Raybestos.
Right.
But there's a Raybestos part number for that. You take that sucker
and you
cross it back over, and so somebody has a Wagner version of it.
Right. Yeah. So tell me that. Why doesn't it automatically recross that number back over?
It's a really interesting question. So the way we handle that interchange, you might not know this, but we receive all of that product data from the manufacturers. So like Raybestos, Moog, Bosch, etc. They provide us their product information. Weekly, monthly,
straight from the manufacturer.
That's
very cool.
Yeah,
so that is really cool.
And when there's a lot to this, and we have an entire team built around just managing this process. But one of the things that we do really effectively is get that data onto our platform in like 24 to 48 hours. And what that means is that you're always querying not only the most recent and most up-to-date fitment information, but the most up-to-date interchange information, which is what you're talking about. Like, how do I go from the OE part number to the aftermarket part number? That's something that the manufacturers are providing and publishing to PartsTech. So we use that data to go from that OE number to the aftermarket.
Very cool.
There's always cataloging errors.
Right. Definitely.
Like there's always.
That's saved my butt more than once. I mean, I think for me, that's the biggest thing with PartsTech is the ability to go and take that number out of that inbox, drop it back in, and find things because we work on some one-off stuff. It's not available anywhere, and for me to go out and search that because here's the thing: is there's a lot of stuff in that in catalog that's not listed in any of my vendor catalogs. I couldn't get that if I tried, but that part number gives me something to go back and look. Wheel cylinders for older vehicles, man. You know how many times that saved me days of getting a part?
Especially start getting older.
Yeah.
Like, as you start getting older. And
dude, that is a lifesaver right
there. Brake hardware, things like that.
Yeah.
You're like, this isn't the right spring. Right. But you find some old school Bendix part number and then you dump it in there and you're like, hey, that's in this kit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really awesome to hear. We don't hear that too often. So you're talking about that button on like the right hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
All the way.
That
dude. Every single day we use that because it gives us the ability to go in there and pull a part number that I can cross reference. Right. And if I can do that, I can get back and find things that I can't find anywhere else, even if I have to go back into Napa's website to cross reference if I have to. But I mean, it takes hours out of my day because I'm able to just copy and paste it.
You're not making 1,000 phone calls. And the problem is like the quality of help at some of these stores has degraded.
Yeah.
To the point where like you can't ask them like, hey, I know you've got that catalog. Can you pull the catalog out and just go like, I know you've got that pre-1978 catalog. Can you pull that out and
You're
look?
Lucky if they can read.
It's like cataloging is a skill, like to pull the book open and be able to flip through and understand the different information and stuff like that. And who still has catalogs? Like, I know some of the parts stores have decided like our software is so good that we can stick anybody behind the counter. The software will do all the work, and then I don't know, like old school parts specialists, like
they're retiring.
Yeah,
and
there's
not a new generation of parts specialists coming up behind them. So all that's left is the systems, the data has to help you get to the part as quickly and easily as you can because there's not as much expertise behind the parts counter in a lot of situations, as there was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in a shop that uses the 300% rule, here's the problem is that you get to where you're spending a ton of time. I mean, if you're going to truly do that, you might make 25 or 30 recommendations on a vehicle. Not that it needs all those, but you're painting a picture so your client is well aware of what to expect, anything that could come around the corner. What I tell my clients is look, I'm not saying you need this now. I've just had a situation in the past. I'll never forget it. I put a transmission in a lady's vehicle. And 2 months later, the rear end came out of it. And I probably, if I had been completely there when I was talking to her, could have said, hey, that pinion seal's leaking. Need to top it off with diff fluid. And we did top it off. And we told her about it. But I didn't make a recommendation for her. So she comes back after the diff's out of it. And she's like, if I had known I was going to have to put differential, I'm putting that transmission in it. Man, I felt really bad about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's been years ago in the infancy of shop ownership.
Right.
But so you go and you do that process. And if you're doing that and you're having to go over to Napa and type in this, that takes forever crossing back and forth.
Yeah.
PartsTech takes a lot of time out of that. I mean, you're talking about an hour and a half to build an estimate down to, 30 minutes to build an estimate, 20 minutes to build an estimate. That's huge.
They were asking why the audio was so different. Like, the audio's weird.
Yeah,
you guys sound different doing it this way. It's because we're recording on a boom mic here for the live stream. I'll put the actual the fancy audio and and mush it to the video and re-release it.
Let's just be completely honest about it. It was all set up and it was all working and everything sounded great. And then David had this.
Are you sure it was actually going to stream? I
had already done it. And then
you're so full of crap. So full of crap.
And then David.
I don't believe a word he's saying. When he smiles like that, he's lying. Just so you know.
You gonna tell him what you did? Just playing with
you. I feel bad for poor Erik. So angry.
He's so still angry. What are you talking about?
I know. It's okay. He hasn't looked me in the eye since.
Well, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the podcast setup.
Yeah, that's what. No. You're so stupid.
Poor PartsTech guys.
Poor PartsTech guys. I'm sorry. Anyway,
where were we?
I'm excited about this OE thing.
Yeah,
you barely mentioned it. It's like hush hush secret. Like
it's so we've started to integrate the first dealers in a couple of markets. It's something that
Why aren't you testing in the Kansas City market?
We'll look at it. We'll look at that.
What? No. I need a commitment here. I don't have a commitment. I don't mess around here.
No, we're focused on a couple of things: improving the tire product. Our product team has been building out some really cool stuff that's been in beta around. I probably shouldn't talk about it, but it's been in beta around actually building a tire quote with our system, so you can quickly build out good, better, best type.
That's
view
awesome.
to hand to your customer.
Really,
that's great,
including adding taxes and
totally. So we built out
that's huge,
it'll
dude.
Then dump right into the SMS.
Depending on the SMS, we're
the good SMSs.
We're engaging with so we've got
not the junky ones. Not he's in marketing. None of them are junky, right? They're all great.
No, we're working with our partners to make sure that they're handling this stuff on the way back into to the work order. So it'll be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that when tires first came out, is that, I really wanted to see more information on the tires come in. And my problem with the tires was, and it's not y'all, right? There's a fee for the tires, and it's not their fault. It's the next level up. But my problem with the tires is I only have one tire vendor that integrates.
I only use one tire vendor.
And so by the time you pay, it doesn't.
We have 3 or 4 tire, big tire vendors in our area. Maybe 5 even. One uses a competitor of yours. Well, it's next part. So that's what they use. And because it integrates with Shopware, guess where I get all of my tires?
Right.
I buy it from them because it'll dump right in like everybody else. I don't buy anything from anybody else. I don't tell them that. I just go, yeah, I use you guys, whatever. But I use them exclusively because they integrate.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing is if you are a parts company or you are a vendor, right? Or a shop management software, if you don't integrate with PartsTech, you're crazy. I mean, to me, that is a game changer. If you're a shop owner and you're not using PartsTech, holy cow. I mean,
they just rolled in, Bill's on here who was commenting. He was working with you guys to get whatever it is that he uses something very specific up in Michigan. And I guess you guys weren't integrated, so he's like, I got to get you guys on board, and you guys got to get connected. Maybe it was a actual like parts store that he was trying to get integrated with. But he got it all done. They actually jumped on. I saw it pop up as, hey, we now have so and so, whatever it is that he was using.
That's
was
awesome.
federated or something like that. Like, I don't even know. Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts that you wouldn't jump on. And who's not on with you guys? Who's not using?
In terms of management systems?
Like, no, vendors. Like part stores.
So we have about 28,000 part stores in the U.S. on board. So that's the
majority.
This majority. It's like 85% of the part stores in the U.S. So the folks that aren't on are mostly like local or regional players that we just haven't gotten to integrate yet, or they haven't opted to work with us yet. But your major guys are on board. It's Napa, AutoZone, Advance, including the Advance family like WorldPack, Auto Part International, O'Reilly is on board, Parts Authority, Factory Motor Parts has been a great partner, XL Parts, etc. So we've got your major players are on board, and we're cleaning up and adding those local or regional guys around the country.
So how are you guys dealing with the tires? So like I said, I have like 4 to 5 tire vendors in my area.
Yeah, that's my question.
Because I don't use the tire stuff.
Yep.
Because like, one, I don't want to pay the fee, but I don't order enough tires. Like, that's the biggest issue, is like I don't order enough tires. And then the other issue is, I want it integrated in there. So for my very few tire purchases, the $25 just doesn't seem like, well, I've already got but I will say, so it's US Auto Forces who are they in there?
So we actually just completed an integration with US Auto Force on the parts side. So their parts inventory will now be available to you.
So they sell like Centric everything.
Really?
Yeah. And I love Centric parts. They're not here. But they should be.
They're good guys. The US Auto Force guys, we like them a lot. So, but their tire inventory is available through our tires product. It is a subscription, like you mentioned. Like
it's $25.
We've
did it go up? It's still 25, right?
It's 45.
Oh my
I think it was ever 25. Maybe we cut you a deal.
Yeah, no, I paid it for a while.
$45.
I paid it.
Sorry,
for a while.
you could have corrected me.
I paid it for a while, and it's an awesome product. What I would like to see is, so when we do a tire quote, we want to drop warranty information.
Right.
We want to drop everything in, and not so much on y'all's end. On our shop management software, it wasn't dropping in a way that was displayable, that made sense to the client.
It was just like one long
string.
Yeah,
exactly. And so, that was one of the things we were still having to go into ATD and copy and paste. Yeah. But the thing that we run into is most of our tire vendors are multi-store tire stores.
Right.
And they buy a bunch of tires, so we're able to get tires from them. They won't ever integrate because they're so small. They only serve a tiny little market. So it's really difficult for them to integrate and be part of something like PartsTech. And, so it's tough for me. That would be super cool if eventually it did. But that's really the only reason I didn't do tires is just for that simple reason.
I just don't order enough.
Right.
I really don't. It's just, I don't need to shop. The inventory at our US Auto Force is it's ridiculous. Like, they have so many tires. They're like, I don't need to go anywhere else. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like the other tire vendors. I don't like them. They make it look. I had one. They were one name. They changed the other to another name. You guys can figure out who it is. We made it so difficult. The sales guy was so nice. And I'm like, dude, I cannot get on your website. Like, he keeps giving me errors, and then it's not connected, and it says I don't have an account. And he's like, oh, I got to turn it on, this, that, and the other. Like, screw all that.
I typically give the guys a card to pay with, or I just have an account.
Right.
The particular tire dealer that's a big chain in our area, I asked for an application, and they said, why didn't you ever send the application back in? I said, you literally wanted a picture of my birth certificate. That's crazy. I've never seen a 45-page application for credit. It was insane.
Why is it so hard to get set up and start doing business?
I think in that case, there was a particular legal requirement from, I don't know if it was a merger or a bankruptcy or something happened where there were financial troubles, and they had controllers in place that if they didn't do this or if people owed them money, there were government requirements on how they could extend credit.
So I'm getting asked here on Facebook, they want to see everything on one screen, which I would have to argue. Like, I don't want to see everything on one screen. That would look like chaos to me.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Every single part in every vendor, like, you look up whatever, an alternator. They want to see vendor availability, like all on one screen. Did you guys like test that and went, this is not working, this looks like chaos? Or do you get asked that?
Yeah, totally. We've been asked that, a number of times over the years, and a couple reasons why we don't. Probably most importantly, we think that the way when we look at how shops use the system and how they're actually browsing and adding parts to the cart, we think sorting, kind of segregating by vendor is like actually the most natural and effective way to do it. And then we have different like sorting algorithms within each vendor. We display what's available at your primary location first, and then outlying locations, down below. But so we totally did look at, hey, what would it look like if we smashed all of the parts together in one place? Mm-hmm. And one of the really important stakeholder groups to our platform are the parts distributors. Mm-hmm. And
they said no.
They said, hey, look, like we're not. There's this balance to PartsTech, so we want to make parts ordering fast and easy for the repair shop. But we don't want to create a race to the bottom for the parts stores either. Right. So I think there are a lot of parts stores that wouldn't be participating in PartsTech today if we had
I can agree
smashed
with that.
all the
absolutely. It makes sense.
So
it makes sense.
I
can understand their hesitancy. We were just talking about that before we went live. Like, I can understand their hesitancy in wanting to get on there because they're the first thing they're going to see. And I used to run parts stores. I understand. You have a percentage of your shops will call. They want all the parts from you because you give them better service. You have good inventory. You take care of them on the warranty, like yada, yada, yada. It's 1,000 reasons why they want to buy from you, but they want to double dip. So they take your pricing. That's what they sell to the customer. Then they make 1,000 phone calls to get the cheapest possible price on all the parts that they're wanting to order from you. This would happen. I'm not kidding. They would actually spend the time doing this. And then they would call you and say, hey, this part needs to be this price. This part needs to be that price. You're really good on this part, but that part needs to be that price. And then you would sit there and you would manually adjust the pricing. And then you would send them all the parts. It was a pain in the ass. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It was a giant pain in the ass. And it was always the same 5 shops. Everybody else give craps, but the same 5 shops would always do that. So I can understand if you're the shop, like you've just made that really easy because they put in the legwork. They would put in the call. I'm going to call Napa. I'm going to call CarQuest, Vans, and AutoZone.
If something's way off, I'm going to say something. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask.
It's got to be way off.
Yeah, like
this is
40,
$200. Yeah, why is everybody 97? And it's got to be the same part. It's got to be that Dorman exhaust manifold is $215. Napa's got it for 97.
You just made everybody in the online stream cringe. That Dorman exhaust manifold. They all left the stream.
Hey, I install Dorman exhaust manifolds. I do. I think we put 3 in last week.
I was just kidding. You don't have to take things so seriously. But I agree. I don't think
they're good price. Like, it's a good price. It's a decent product. Like, we haven't had any problems with it.
I was just kidding. You don't have to get so upset. No, seriously though, I think they're doing the right thing. I don't think that they should put them all on one.
Now that we've talked crap about Dorman, we are sponsored by.
We love Dorman. They're good people.
I mean, we tried.
They stepped into the ring.
We're
respect.
Trying to bring a really valuable tool to the repair shops, right? And I think we're kind of unique in our space against our competitors because we view the repair shop as our end user. Like, you guys are our customer, parts seller, the parts store is like really the, their customer, and they're more concerned about the experience at that level than the experience of the actual buyer.
Yeah.
The person that's actually making the selection on which part we're getting or actually installing the part on the car.
Right.
So we definitely, we lean more towards creating the right experience for the repair shop, but we do so in a way that we think is respectful to the parts store community as well, by not,
That's awesome.
smashing prices
Yeah,
together.
dude, I'm telling you, I'm really happy with the product. And I'll be honest with you, when I go to a shop or talk to somebody who doesn't use it, it's almost a shock to me, because over the past couple of years, I've been using it exclusively, and it just seems so natural. It just works. It just seems like what you should do anyway. I mean, it is such a great product. I love it. I'm going to tell you, absolutely love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, really great to hear. I mean, so it has been really exciting being at this show this year, because last year we were talking maybe 10% of the shops that stopped by our booth, knew about PartsTech, were using us. And like this year, greater than 50. So we're like, all right, shops are finding out about it. The word is spreading. So
we're going to see eventual implementation of OE. What are the next big things?
Yeah. How is that not the next big thing?
No, I'm saying that is the next big thing, but
the fact that they're not testing in Kansas City, I don't understand. Do you know how many dealers are in Kansas City? Look, I am happy to work out any bugs for freezies. I don't want to be compensated. And I will give you all the feedback you want. Just hook it up, and I will, trust me, you'll get daily emails from me like, hey, this button doesn't work. Hey, I'd like you to do this. And
I don't know if you figured out yet that would just be a really rough couple of months. I would probably find like an email address that's rarely checked.
Right. I think our support
team
would
will shield yourself from criticism, because I will argue with absolutely anybody that says, this thing don't work that well. I will go after them and go, what are you talking about? I gave them feedback. It works perfectly now.
That's awesome.
So what's the end vision from here? And I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. We've talked about OE, we've talked about all these different aspects. What's the next big step, and what's the vision moving forward? All these listeners, these folks who love PartsTech, they use them all the time. What's the next couple of big steps you see for the organization?
Totally, yeah. So, again, the vision is making it as fast and easy as possible for you to buy parts from all your vendors.
Right.
So we're always looking at, how can we get smarter on the front end of the interface, right? Like the partstech.com that you're touching every day. How do we make that more intuitive? How do we better predict what you're looking for and present you with, the right options the first time, so that you're not, even within our product, not running multiple queries, trying to find what brands or what parts you're looking for. So we're going to continue to get smarter on the front end and the way that we handle the product data in the background, not to geek out too far on all that stuff. We're going to continue to bring on more and more parts suppliers. Okay. So both in the aftermarket, OE, tires. I believe eventually we'll start working with other part categories as well, not to go too far. Afield where we haven't planned yet. But what else? What am I missing here? Continuing to integrate more management systems.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we integrate with probably the top 30 management systems in the space today, especially those cloud-based systems that are really mixing it up and bringing new capabilities to the market. We're opening up new capabilities for those partners to use our data to build smarter workflows within their systems.
Right.
And that's really exciting, because that's where you get into, how do we automate the parts order without you having to think about it at all? Car is scheduled, we have a service scheduled. Let's make sure we have some stuff in stock before the vehicle even gets here.
That's huge. That we've had a couple big mistakes where, we showed something to be in stock, or we had an issue where the parts store showed to have it in stock, so it wasn't ordered the night before. And then all of a sudden they call and they say, hey, it's not actually on the shelf.
Yeah, we've run into that a few times.
So
we blame the vendor every time.
Yeah, well, but I mean, well, of course, but I'm saying, it takes me, whereas it might take you a couple hours to get the part. It takes me 2 to 3 days to get the part.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if there was a way to set that up sooner to where it was automatically doing that, that's huge.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys stock inventory?
A little bit, not much.
Yeah. So that to us, you shouldn't have to think about that at all. That process should just run itself. When you get below a certain, stock
Yeah.
level, just reorder it. Like you shouldn't have to
That's
think
awesome.
about it
Yeah, that's cool.
at all.
Very cool.
So
All
yeah,
right, very nice. So if you don't have PartsTech,
You can go ahead and sign up.
yes.
So, well, I mean, in most cases, they're talking to their SMS company
Yeah.
about you.
right.
If they don't have an SMS company or they want to contact you, they want to say, hey, tell us about PartsTech. I'm interested
I used the
in this.
website before.
Did you?
Like we switched to SMS.
I didn't
was
know
on the
until I
website.
got Shopware.
Yeah, so I told you that we were like, I had a guy coding the SMS thing, and I'm like, there was a, I don't remember the name of the part. We found this website, and it was like, find the cheapest auto parts. And what it was is like a website. You would type in alternator, and it would then check the different website. Like it would go to AutoZone.com, it would go to Napa.com, and it would then aggregate the information on one screen to tell you what was available and at what price. And I told the guy, the guy who was in there coding the software, I'm like, I want that. That's what I want. I want one place to go for all my parts. Like I'm not clicking. Like I want that. And he's like, I don't know what. Like, do you know how much work it is? I'm like, I don't care, but I want that. And so I started looking for options, and I stumbled upon PartsTech.
That's
I'm
awesome.
not kidding. This was probably 17, and I signed up. I'm like, whoa.
I think
Another
you
one.
told me about it.
What's that?
I think you told me about it at some point, and I just never looked into it until I got Shopware.
Yeah. Well, as soon as it like when I saw that it integrated into Shopware, like that was.
So is the best thing to do go to the website?
Yeah, go to the website. You can sign up for free, set up, as many as 5 vendors, no charge on PartsTech. It's free to use, free tool.
Cool.
Hold on. You said 5 vendors. I have more than 5 vendors.
So you can sign up for PartsTech Pro, which is a new product that should have mentioned this earlier. New product offering we've been rolling out that allows you to set up unlimited vendors. Has some other cool administrative features if you want to, kind of lock down if you have other people doing the parts ordering in your shop and you want to kind of have some admin control over who can do what. That's where you get into the PartsTech Pro realm.
Very cool.
So our offerings are, we've got the free version of PartsTech, which the majority of our customers use and get a lot of value out of. You can opt into the Pro version or add on tires to the tool. So best way to get set up is to go to partstech.com. Just go through the sign up flow. Somebody from our team will get in touch with you same day, help you get set up, help you get your vendors rocking and rolling on the system. We'll help you get connected to your management system. And we, handle all the support stuff at no cost.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much.
Very
Eric.
much.
Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right, guys.
All right.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the ASOG podcast. If you'd like to catch these episodes early, you can do so by becoming a patron. Just go to asog.site and click on the Become a Patron Now button. Becoming a patron helps support the show, gets you several perks, and is tax deductible. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and on YouTube so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, shoot me an email. My email address is david@asog.site. That's DAVID @ASOG.SITE. Until next time.